ably labeled ladies and gentlemen. The gentlemen will take a bit more time to get to where they are, so can we all rise? Can we all rise? We can take our seats.
apa shefu achataura vari apa saka tavharira vanhu vacho maybe tikangoenda
Here below
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, Honorable Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Dr. Amon Murira, and other ministers here present, Chairman of the Public Service Commission, Chairman of Council, Dr. A.J. Masuka, Deputy Chairperson of Council, Mrs. S. Mzite, and members of the University Council here present, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Paul Mapumo, members of the Diplomatic Corps here present, honorable members of Senate and Parliament here present, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Fanno Tagwira, the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Council of Higher Education, Professor Peter Kuzvinetsa Nzvimbo, Affairs, Professor Rosemary Moyana, University of Zimbabwe, Pro Vice Chancellor, Strategic Partnership and Industrialization, Professor Charles Mboa, Executive Director, Research and Innovation, Executive Director, Quality Assurance and Professional Development, University of Zimbabwe, Registrar, University of Zimbabwe PESA, and University of Zimbabwe Librarian, Deans of Faculties, members of the University Senate, Chairpersons of Departments and Directors of Institutes, Captains of Industry, staff and colleagues of the University of Zimbabwe, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to the official opening of the University of Zimbabwe Innovation Hub, which is behind me, to your right, to your left, depending on how you are seated. At this juncture, I'm going to call upon our Chairman of Council, Dr. A.J. Masuka, to come and give us a welcome remarks. Dr. Masuka.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, the Honorable Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Amon Murira, other ministers and deputy ministers here present, Chairman of the Public Service Commission, Dr. V. Mungwe, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Tagwira, and other Permanent Secretaries and senior government officials here present, the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Council for Higher Education, Professor Nzvimbo, Deputy Chair of the University Council, Ms. Mzite, and members of Council here present, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Mapumo, who we will unveil officially at the graduation ceremony next month, members of the Diplomatic Corps here present, members of Senate and Parliament. My apologies, I don't see the Minister of State for Harare Metropolitan Province on this list, but I acknowledge your presence, Honorable Chidawe. Vice Chancellors of other universities here present, University of Zimbabwe Pro Vice Chancellors, Executive Deans, Directors of Institutes, Management, Students, and colleagues, Captains of Industry and Commerce, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the University Council, it gives me great pleasure to warmly welcome you to the official opening of the Zimbabwe University of Zimbabwe Innovation Hub. The completion of the hub presents a major milestone in the transformation of the university and the entire higher education landscape towards increased relevance to the nation. This transformation highlights and demonstrates the university's unfettered commitment to address national challenges. Your Excellency and Chancellor, this Innovation Hub is part of the Education 5.0 continuum and is a pivotal and timely response to to energize the national aspirations towards the attainment of our middle income status by 2030. Research and innovation are key features of our new and radical strategy as a university. This innovation hub is also a clear testimony to industry, commerce, and the nation at large that the University of Zimbabwe has just opened for business, and that the university seeks to provide the rails upon which the industry train will move towards modernization, reindustrialization, and accelerated economic development. Your Excellency and Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, universities are fighting for legitimacy and relevance owing to the multiplicity of challenges facing nations. As citadels of knowledge, universities have been challenged to come closer to the people and to proffer solutions to their problems. This innovation hub is indeed our expression of that intention. Your Excellency and Chancellor, the challenges we face today are the equivalent of birth pains. I'm told, not having experienced this myself, and that they herald the dawn of a new era of potential prosperity for our nation. To industry and commerce, the University of Zimbabwe continuously seeks to be a part of the pipeline of solutions for your many seemingly intractable problems. These may range from antiquated equipment, challenges of high production costs, problems in failing to attain lean production principles, challenges of access to markets, and many, many more. To the nation at large, this university, your university, has entered a phase of accelerated growth, delivering, as it will, through Education 5, exciting goods and services that will contribute to your family, to your village, and indeed to our nation's development. Hence, our new motto as the university, University of Zimbabwe, educating to change lives. Your Excellency and Chancellor, the university community is grateful for the rejuvenated government support for our various activities, including support for student loans, which will be used judiciously and for the disadvantaged, for support for staff salaries, and more importantly, for rehabilitation of infrastructure and for the construction of additional and new infrastructure, as is this innovation hub. With increased support from your government, your Excellency and Chancellor, we are indeed confident that the university will deliver Education 5.0 and contribute substantially to the socio-economic development of the nation as we journey towards Vision 2030. With these few remarks, Your Excellency and Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, let me once again welcome you to the official opening of the University of Zimbabwe Innovation Hub. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman of Council. Can I have Brandon Chirova? Brandon Chirova. Your Excellency, we want to give you the student perspective of Education 5.0. And we have Brandon Chirova, a student at the University of Zimbabwe, to come and give this perspective. Brandon.
A beautiful afternoon to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. All protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. So, I have a 5-year-old brother. As I was packing my bag to come back for last semester, he asked me what the University of Zimbabwe was. What bothered me more than not having the answers was that I had never asked myself these very fundamental questions. I had never wondered why I give so much time, resources, and energy to education like it was a gold mine. Hence, I set out to find the answers, dug every piece of earth I could find in the hopes maybe I could unearth the true realities of what this place really offers. And I learned a number of things. I learned that 1, this university is not the key, but rather is the door, because you see, you can lose the key, but there is always a way to a better future. It is a portal, giving us access to things that can only be birthed by passion and hard work. So, we will knock on this door. And if it does not open, we will always use the power of cognition and collaboration to come up with innovative ways to open it. We know we cannot live without the treasures that lie behind. 2, this university is the window, allowing us to peep through and glimpse at the possible future, a glimmer of hope, telling stories of success. If you listen close enough, you can hear the ground cheer you on. If you watch close enough, you can see these walls clap and the sky lower its hand to pull us up, so we are never hopeless. 3, this university is like an oven. Maybe that's why we produce so many degrees, social, obnoxious minds being melted into pure gold, mining the best out of each and every student, finding the gold in our heads so we can use our heads to find the gold under the earth, tame the land to bring the best out of it. 4, education at the University of Zimbabwe is collaboration. It is me, you, my colleagues, placing our eggs in one basket. If they break, we will add salt, sugar, and flour, allow the heat and pressure to bake us into beautiful, sumptuous confectionaries, turn that basket of broken eggs into a bread basket again. 5, education is not paper or pen, or sitting in rows, reciting, recalling, sightseeing the chalkboard, but never internalizing, cramming to pass, passing the time. It's not really education if it doesn't transform you, is it? But this university is a Concorde hurtling across the sky toward Vision 2030, fueled by Education 5.0, with our president, Emerson Dabuzo, and the chairperson of this university sitting in the cockpit, his vice in the cockpit, co-piloting with him, Professor Murwira, and a vibrant cabin crew led by Professor Mafumo. We know that what they are offering us is a whole and complete curriculum that will give us an opportunity to learn and to grow. Because education here is sciences and technology, taking technical skills to build industries churning out products and services. It is mathematics and engineering, building hubs, harboring life skills. It is a campus encompassing economics in everything, a campus to the UZ and to the Zimbabwe we want for our future. It is sports and arts, finding different and unique ways to tell our own narrative. It's collaboration, engaging the community, coming together with drive and passion to bring out a new Zimbabwe. We are a constellation, a group of stars writing the future across the sky. You see, the misconception is that this university is a wand we can wave around for 4 years to get a job. But no, this place is an opportunity for every single one of us to become, to innovate, to experiment, to create, and to engage. And dear little brother, I would give up my time, my resources, and my energy for this any day. Thank you.
Wow, another round of applause for the young man there. This is the first time when I have heard that eggs might break and then there is no problem. Thank you very much, friend. At this juncture, I'm going to call upon the Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Paul Mafumo, to come and give us this presentation. Professor Mafumo.
Your Excellency and Chancellor, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, the Honorable Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Dr. Mnangagwa, the Honorable Minister of State for Harare Metropolitan Province, Mr. Oliver Chigawa, Honorable Ministers here present, members of the Diplomatic Corps here present, Honorable Deputy Ministers here present, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Advocate Jacob Mugeni, the Honorable Members of Senate and Parliament here present, Permanent Secretary, the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Fano Tagwira, here represented by the Director for Higher Education Programs, Mrs. Mfutu, the Chairman of the University of Zimbabwe Council, Dr. Excellency Masuka, and members of Council here present. I want to also recognize the Chairman of the Public Service Commission, Dr. Excellency. I want to recognize the Vice Chancellors from sister universities here present, principals of colleges. I want to recognize the Pro-Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs for the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Moyana, the Pro-Vice Chancellor for Strategic Partnerships and Industrialization for the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Charles Mbowe, the University of Zimbabwe Executive Directors, the members of the University Senate, the University of Zimbabwe Registrar, ESA and Librarian, Deans of Faculties, Chairpersons of Departments, Captains of Industry, staff and colleagues of the University of Zimbabwe, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do my presentation from the board, so those who can see as far as the board can be able to see the presentation there. Your Excellency and Chancellor, they gave me 10 minutes, but you know the most difficult thing there is to give a short time to talk for two types of people, the professor and the politician. They share one thing in common. They are very passionate. Yes, next slide. The Innovation Hub, it is the government's bold statement of intent and commitment to industrialization and modernization. And I would like to say Africa is three paradoxes. First, it is the continent that has farmers that need to be fed. It is the mineral-rich nation. Every African state is termed rich. But the most of their money goes to import things that are made of the same mineral. The most educated nation is Zimbabwe, but the highest importer of the goods and services, basically importing know-how. That's what we're importing. Your biggest viewer, Your Excellency and Chancellor, who import and just know-how. Next slide. I have made this conceptual diagram. What it shows is that the narrative for employment leads to a dead end. So I'm disagreeing. What we want is skills anchored in research and innovation. Why is it a problem to have employment as the target? Because people will sit there. Even if you don't employ them, they will ask, you said you will employ us. But the difference with the other narrative, the other narrative of skills is they will find themselves relevant in also employing each other. So the difference we have between the developed and developing nations is that they have a much thicker and bigger knowledge base at the bottom that then supports their national vision at the center. And these are surrounded by three main pillars that I think are important for sustainable socio-economic growth, which are peace and stability, skills, and the consciousness of value and respect for one's nation. So that's what that slide says. Next. Your Excellency and Chancellor, the bold statement you have made is about the awakening. If we were in the village, we would say Shumba Zapaza, and people know what that means. And a landmark for Education 5.0, inspiring new generations of professors, graduates, businesses, and industries towards our Vision 2030. So we need to break those barriers. We have set a vision as a university. And I don't want to take too much of your time going through the vision, but the vision is that we become a global center of excellence in research, innovation, and higher education training by 2035. To be able to do that, we should be recognized at least in Africa by 2025. And then the mission will be there for people to read later. We are guided by the philosophy, simple philosophy of kuziva nokugona, ukwazi nokwenelisa. Kuziva is the deep consciousness of our circumstances and who we are. And that's what determines where we want to go in the type of goods and services that we should be having. Kugona is simply competence that is strategic. You simply have to be good and to know what you have to do. And we have 7 pillars that we have developed for your University of Excellence in Chancellor to deliver Education 5.0. The first one is to have professors who lead programs. We need a programmatic approach so that people know what they represent and what really they stand for. And that will be the center for our research and innovation. This is why we are here at the Innovation Hub. The second is that the teaching should be informed by that. We will not need people who teach from 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening. Where is the time to do this? Then the identification of talent, nurturing of talent, and mentorship of talent. This is where our youth comes to the fore. Then our industrialization and internationalization of the university. The university should be present. It will act locally, but it should be present on the international stage. Then strategic partnerships. The university has not been connecting to industry and commerce. So it will be less relevant. If it becomes more relevant, it means it will connect more. The other 2 pillars are to do with governance and also the development of infrastructure. So the Innovation Hub today shows the government intention and will and commitment to the development of university infrastructure. Here is how do we become. Research should be at the center of what we do, to generate that new knowledge and build that knowledge base. Then people will begin to have different options to innovate, come up with solutions, and then promote new enterprises, new generation of businesses. I would want to move to the Innovation Hub on why this official opening is special for the University of Zimbabwe. This occasion is particularly important for the University of Zimbabwe in that this superstructure was wholly funded by the government of Zimbabwe. You can move to the next slide too. The construction works were by the Department of Works of the University of Zimbabwe. But through your permission, I would want to say we came up as things were toughening with a model where we collaborated with our colleagues in the other universities, Midland State University, Chinhoyi University of Science and Technology, Harare Polytechnic, Belvedere Teachers College. They gave us artisans that then worked with our team in a very coordinated and unified manner to deliver this building you are seeing before you. And I would want them to simply raise their hands so that they show they are here, if they are here. That spirit provides a new model for Zimbabwe going forward, and we hope that we can be able to keep that up. The lessons we learned about the need for internal change of our work ethic, we also had lessons that the business culture with external suppliers need to also change. That's what we learned from this. The new model, therefore, is put us in a very good position. Next slide. That it is my conviction that this event is making the nation and the world realize the depth of your statement when you say Zimbabwe is open for business. Next slide. Your Excellency, Chancellor, please.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Paul Mapfumo. In the morning, you actually did me a favor by continuing to be at the podium so that I didn't have to call you back to come and introduce the next person. But in the afternoon, you didn't do me the favor. Professor Mapfumo, can you go back to the podium and introduce for us our Honorable Minister, Professor Dr. Mnangagwa. Professor Mapfumo, thank you.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. I want to say all protocol observed and take this opportunity to bring to the podium our Honorable Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, who is the man that has been championing this concept of innovation hubs, Professor Dr. Mnangagwa. You can address the podium.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, the Chairman of the University Council, Dr. Anxious Masuka, Honorable Minister of State for Harare Metropolitan Province, Honorable Ministers here present, members of the diplomatic corps, may I say, Your Excellency, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, ladies and gentlemen, let me start, Your Excellency, with the words of your Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, who said, a country in which the people are poorly educated and illiterate will never rise to the peaks of the world civilization. And I agree. The same man said, nobody should pin their hopes on a miracle. I also agree, Your Excellency. Hakuna nyika inobudirira neminana. A country is developed by its people. Others can only assist. You have always said many times, Your Excellency, that human capital development is the center of our Vision 2030 strategy. I strongly agree. This is why it is important for us as Zimbabwe to rise through improving the design and the standard of our higher tertiary education system. I say design, Your Excellency. Sando haitemi muti unotemwa nesando. Sando inorovera chipikiri. Hatishandisi zvinhu pasingashandi. Your Excellency, President of this Republic, we are designing a human capital-based industrialization pathway to attain our national Vision 2030 of Zimbabwe becoming an upper middle income economy. Your Excellency, although Zimbabwe has a high literacy rate of over 90%, we, through the skills audit that you commissioned, the skills levels are at 38%. This is important information because it makes us be able to take off in a direction that is predictable. Literacy is a very good start, but it is not the final destination of an education system. The final destination of any education system is industrialization and modernization. This state of affairs is because for years we have been following the higher tertiary education system that has been focusing on three missions: teaching, research, and community service, which basically means conferences and workshops. This traditional design has been what we term now Education 3.0, which by design cannot produce skilled people for the production of goods and services, but produces workers who are waiting to work on what I'm not sure. Having seen the Education 3.0 model was an efficient, very efficient colonial design, which served its time well by producing the intended workers, but is stifling our post-independence development. We now have added innovation and industrialization, Your Excellency. That's why you are inaugurating this innovation hub today. This mission is now called the Education 5.0 design. Your Excellency, this design only came out because you charged us to have an education system that produces goods and services, and we had to figure out how. Today, you are commissioning the Innovation Hub, which is the fourth pillar of Education 5.0. I'm pleased to report to you, Your Excellency, that we have already released another 6 million to start the construction of the first two industrial parks, one at Chinhoyi University Farm and another one at the University of Zimbabwe Farm. We've allocated each university 3 million. Work now is in progress to make sure important phases are completed in 2020. This time we did not call you for a groundbreaking ceremony, Your Excellency. We want you to come and open, just like we are opening this Innovation Hub next year. Innovation is the process of turning ideas into manufacturable and marketable form. Thus, at this Innovation Hub, 3 processes shall take place, Your Excellency. Technical evaluation of good ideas for the production of goods and services, legal protection of these products and services, and marketing of these products and services. These are not lecture rooms, not at all. This is for innovation. We basically say, if your research is not making too much sense, the prototypes produced are relayed to the industrial parks. It is through using these innovation hubs that we shall industrialize this nation, we declare. We shall attain Vision 2030. We are simply saying Zimbabwe shall develop through our design, not Minana na Masaramus. In our innovative drive, we are guided by the heritage philosophy, which simply states that an education system cannot be effective if it is practically removed from the environment it is supposed to transform. In other words, we cannot have an education system that does not focus its practical materials on its heritage, plants, animals, minerals, and the people of Zimbabwe. Thus, we have adopted the heritage philosophy to anchor innovation in Education 5.0. The premise of the heritage-based philosophy is the fact that no country in this world ever developed by buying things, but rather by selling things produced in its own environment. In other words, heritage philosophy tells the simple story of comparative advantage and exploitation of comparative advantage. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I think the Vice Chancellor has said, Shumba Zapaza. That's exactly what it means. We are imprisoned by designs and we are liberated by redesign and negation of a design that doesn't work for us. It has been proven that innovation is about the people you have and how they are led. With little money and good brains, we can achieve a lot. The evidence is the completion of this innovation hub and others in the pipeline. These are RTGS Zimbabwe dollars that build this thing. To all academics, I'm proud to announce that we have the privilege of having a president who believes in the supremacy of ideas over matter, making it the most exciting time for any academic in Zimbabwe. We have a president who practically supports innovation and human capital development as the central issue in economic prosperity. Innovation is the specific instrument of entrepreneurship, the act that endows resources with a new capacity to create wealth. Zimbabwe will never be the same again. Watch this space. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, allow me also to state that the best way to predict the future prospects of any nation is to have a look at what happens in its lecture rooms. Thus, the future of Zimbabwe and Africa we want is designed in our colleges and universities. Alice Walker aptly said, look closely at the present you are constructing. It should look like the future you are dreaming. This present of Education 5.0 and innovation hubs, Your Excellency, predicts the future of a wealthy Zimbabwe, at peace with itself and at peace with the rest of the world. Allow me, Your Excellency, also to report that our higher tertiary education system is now inculcating consciousness of our human condition as a people and as a nation. Simply stated, who are we as a people? What do we wish to become? We know that consciousness is much more than 5 senses. Why, Your Excellency? Why? Because 5 senses are found in every animal. I therefore say, if 5 senses mattered much, then cows could have invented cars. Your Excellency, this may be the reason why one author named Ken Robinson said, one of the enemies of creativity and innovation, especially in relation to development and breaking of new frontiers, is common sense. We don't want common sense anymore. We want consciousness. And I agree with this author. For many years in Zimbabwe, there has been a mismatch between college and university outputs and industry. This mismatch was a result of the different origin and purposes of our education and industrial systems. In fact, there was some kind of an immobilizing design. However, we are now making our higher tertiary education cause industry using Education 5.0. We are simply saying industry does not fall from the sky. Industry is of a brainy origin. Industry comes from innovation hubs. Your Excellency, allow me to encourage all Zimbabweans to think design language so that we are able to interpret life as it is and devise how we can change our lives for the better by recognizing that there is order in everything that we see. When you see poverty, it comes out of a design. When you see prosperity, it comes out of a design. There is order in both scenarios. Specifically, when we see our education not working for us, the problem is in its design and vice versa. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to end by using the words of the former Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres, who summed the whole idea of innovation as follows. In Israel, a land lacking in natural resources, we learned to appreciate our greatest natural advantage, which is our minds, our brains. Through creativity and innovation, we have transformed barren deserts into flourishing fields and pioneered new frontiers in science and technology. I am sure Zimbabwe is on the way, our own way to development, together with others who cooperate with us. We are out of the Education 3.0 cage, Shumba Zakapaza, and we are now moving ahead with Education 5.0. Our minds, our hands, our destiny, so says the motto of Midland State University. I thank you, Your Excellency. Siyabonga Tatende. Your Excellency, allow me to go to the next stage of my task, which is to introduce our guest of honor today. It is my singular privilege and honor to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor at this official opening of the University of Zimbabwe Innovation Hub. The man I'm introducing to you is an accomplished lawyer by profession. He was admitted to the bar of the High Court of Zambia in 1976 after completing his law studies at the University of Zambia, a feat he attained from studies he began whilst in prison in Rhodesia for his daring involvement in Zimbabwe's liberation struggle. At a very young age, he demonstrated a high sense of political consciousness. I want to repeat, consciousness. He was not using 5 senses at all. It was much more. The need for justice, equity, fairness, and equality. In 1963, he went to Tanzania and then to Egypt to undergo military training for the liberation of Zimbabwe. Our guest of honor also enrolled for further military training in China at the prestigious Nanjing Military Academy and specialized in infantry and engineering, graduating in 1964. As a result, he is still an honorary member of the People's Liberation Army to this day. Together with a colleague, the late Matthew Malowa, he blew up a locomotive in Masvingo, then Fort Victoria, during a special assignment to attack selected targets within Southern Rhodesia. This act led to his arrest in 1965. He was sentenced to death after a sham trial. However, due to an age technicality, he escaped execution by a whisker. His death sentence was commuted to 10 years imprisonment, which he served at various maximum prisons within Southern Rhodesia. Like many other Liberation War veterans in similar situations, he was ruthlessly tortured both before and during imprisonment. His incarceration, coupled with his exposure to numerous acts of injustices, brutalities, and abuses against the indigenous people, inspired him to read for a law degree. After his release in 1973, he was deported to Zambia by the Rhodesian government. In spite of the years of vicious torture as well as inhuman and degrading treatment, his resolve to fight for justice and the desire to see an independent Zimbabwe was never broken. While in Zambia, he remained in active politics. During that time, he enrolled at the University of Zambia and he completed his law degree, after which he practiced under the late Enoch Lubuchena's law firm. The late Lubuchena was to become the first Chief Justice in independent Zimbabwe. After independence in 1980, he was appointed to various ministerial portfolios as well as the post of Speaker of Parliament from the year 2000 to year 2005. At the time, the new government was grappling with the challenges associated with the nation building after a protracted liberation war. Our guest of honor was charged with the ministerial responsibility of superintending over the establishment of the new security apparatus. The need to unite three forces, ZIPRA, ZANDA, and the Rhodesian Front, as well as transform the hitherto racial and reactionary security architecture, also saw him exercise his wisdom, patience, tolerance, and accommodation. He was always fair, just, and honest in his approach. In the government, he served as the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, where he championed landmark legislation that would see the empowerment of the previously marginalized black majority, women and youth. During the period 2005 to 2009, he was the Minister of Rural Housing and Social Amenities, advanced the development of modernization of the habitats of rural communities. Afterwards, our guest of honor became Minister of Defense from 2009 to 2013. The aftermath of the 2013 harmonized general election saw him return to the Ministry of Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, where he would oversee the intricate transformation of the state from the negotiated Lancaster House Constitution to the 2013 people-driven new constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see that this guest of honor is a designer. In December 2014, he was elevated to the post of Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, while continuing to serve as Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. As Vice President, he supervised economic ministries. He utilized his dual roles in government to propel his desire to see improvement in the quality of lives of the ordinary people, return Zimbabwe to a food secure status, and greater cooperation between Zimbabwe and the business sector. On 19th November 2017, the ZANU-PF Central Committee nominated him President of ZANU-PF Party and of the Republic of Zimbabwe, following the resignation of his predecessor, former President, His Excellency Comrade Arajim Mugabe. His vision is to see the country integrated in the community of nations and transformed into a upper middle income economy. He has already transformed it into a middle income economy. Modernized the industrialized economy with a footing in the global value chains by 2030. He has also reached out to Zimbabweans in the diaspora to contribute to the economic rebuilding of Zimbabwe. To date, he has accelerated the development and expansion of critical infrastructure, such as in transport, in energy, ICT, agriculture, as well as regional socio-economic development. He is equally committed to the creation of a new Zimbabwe and a new Africa, where servant leadership, hard, honest work, creativity, innovation, freedom, and economic prosperity are pursued and equitably enjoyed by all citizens. Our guest of honor is a firm believer in the critical role played by universities in the modernization and industrialization of Zimbabwe. His passion for innovation has resulted in the aggressive transformation of higher and tertiary education, from education 3.0 to education 5.0. He has a strong support for research and development, which has seen Zimbabwe funding the establishment of innovation hubs at institutions of higher learning, as well as the industrial parks that I've just mentioned. The innovation hub we are witnessing and launching here today bears testimony to his desire to see universities taking a leading role in innovation of new technologies, creativity, and coming up with contemporary solutions to challenges we may face as a nation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, our guest of honor is the symbol of strength, hope, and peace, an emblem of sacrifice, patience, tolerance, forgiveness, perseverance, and absolute loyalty. The man I've been talking about all along is none other than His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, and Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa. It is now my singular honor and privilege to invite His Excellency the President to deliver his keynote address. Your Excellency, sir, I thank you.
May you be seated. Our Director of Ceremonies, our Vice President in absentia, General Retired Dr. Chiwenga, our Vice President also in absentia, Colonel Retired Mohadi, the Minister of State for Harare Metropolitan Province, Senator Engineer Chidao, Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Dr. Murira. Other honorable ministers who are present, Chairman of the University of Zimbabwe Council, Dr. A. Masuka, and members of the Council who are present. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Mapfumo. Members of Parliament who may be here. Members of the Diplomatic Corps who may be here. Senior government officials. Members of the university staff and students. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. Minister of Education, I am honored and privileged to join you in celebrating the official opening of the University of Zimbabwe Innovation Hub and the launch of the University's Strategic Plan 2019 to 2025. As a way of background, some might recall that at my inauguration meeting with the vice chancellors of universities and the heads of institutions of higher learning in 2018, I exhorted them to transform our universities into modern tertiary institutions dominated by innovation imagination, and creativity. I'm very pleased that this event is, in my view, a demonstration of the University of Zimbabwe's answer to that call. Well done, and congratulations to you, University of Zimbabwe. Indeed, the history of the development of mankind proves that we must constantly innovate to promote the development of a country and its people. Regrettably, as you aptly highlight in your strategic plan document, one of the largest and often unrecognized import bill for Zimbabwe, as with many African countries, relates to the knowledge of how to, in the form of technologies, tools, equipment, methods, processes, and approaches. Ironically, these should be the target outputs and outcomes for the university business. This means that the very basis of low industrial productivity in our country is largely attributed to poor performing and low productivity among our intellectuals, who are mainly concentrated within the universities. And as the Vice Chancellor himself said, you lecture from morning at 8 o'clock until 8 o'clock in the evening, January to December. Hence, without innovation, our country risks falling behind or sinking into a passive state, which may result in us missing the immense opportunities availed by the current development epoch on our planet. It is against this background that the twin milestone achievements which we are witnessing today have far-reaching implications for our country. These undoubtedly mark a critical turning point in our country's education sector as we strive to deliver the education model 5.0. Relevant education and skills development is indeed an indispensable ingredient as we accelerate the achievement of Vision 2030. The era of an education system which is tailored to simply create a literate but unskilled people or a market of mere job seekers has come to an end. Under the Second Republic, we shall diligently pursue an education model that intellectually empowers our human capital so that it seeks, responds, and adapts to the ever-changing world. This is integral as we create industries, businesses, goods and services which provide solutions to the daily needs of our own communities. The development of skills and competencies which facilitate the urgent need to penetrate global value chains will also be prioritized by my administration. Our investment in education at both national and the family level must now, more than ever before, translate into tangible improvements in the quality of life of our people at every level. I'm delighted to see the University of Zimbabwe embracing and actualizing our modernization and the new education drive through the successful establishment of this innovation hub we are opening today. The funding and construction of this facility demonstrates my government's commitment to the use of our own resources and the rich, diverse knowledge of our people to build and modernize our own country. I commend the University of Zimbabwe executive for judiciously utilizing the resources allocated from Treasury by constructing this facility internally using the University Department of Works. The Department of Works has always been there for many years. It is envisaged that this innovation hub, along with other such hubs in the country, will also facilitate my government's ongoing quest to improve the quality of life, increase economic diversification, enhance a knowledge economy, improve national competitiveness, and create high-skilled jobs, as well as promote entrepreneurship. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and students, as Chancellor of this university, it is gratifying to open the Innovation Hub in the context of a new and transformative university strategic plan. As such, the revised mission of the University of Zimbabwe to provide leadership in relevant and cost-effective research, knowledge-based innovative solutions, products and services is both timely and appropriate. It further attests to the fact that the University of Zimbabwe is transforming to meaningfully contribute towards our national development through comprehensive strategies which directly address innovation and industrialization of our country. The inclusive and the consultative nature in developing the strategic plan involving diverse stakeholders, including government, industry, commerce, and civil society is plausible. I'm optimistic that the clearly articulated outcomes detailed in the strategic plan are reflective of the university's readiness to address the needs of industry, commerce, and society as a whole. In view of the architecture of our economy, I challenge the university to specifically take leadership in innovation related to climate change responses strategies, development of medicines, agrochemicals, fertilizers, and vaccines. I challenge the younger generation to these challenges. It is equally important to pioneer new areas around renewable energy solutions, new models for resilient and sustainable food systems, as well as mineral beneficiation. Going forward, my government will continue to recognize innovation as a cornerstone to accelerating social and economic development. It is time to value and promote independence of thought. When I first went to university, I was told there was what was called university freedom. And initially, when you were told that at university you are allowed to think, you have the freedom to do good or bad. So one day, me and my cousin, we had been taught that our parents, when they pay taxes to the government, the money is used to build hospitals, clinics, schools, and infrastructure such as roads. So as we were leaving the university, walking to town, we realized that the tarmac from the university to town, our parents also had contributed. So when the motor vehicle came, we didn't want to leave the road because we felt that our fathers had also contributed. but we forgot that this freedom must be regulated. And today, it is still the same. Going forward, let those with talent who can innovate and provide smart solutions be recognized and accordingly rewarded. We thus remain committed. To the protection of intellectual property, copyrights and patents, to encourage innovation and creativity in arts and scientific research. In addition, we shall prioritize the creation of an enabling environment to improve our nation's ability to attract investment and innovative ideas. In this respect, issues to do with the provision of the appropriate regulatory frameworks and the provision of comprehensive services and technological infrastructure, among other incentives, must also be looked into. It is my expectation that industry, commerce, and our communities realize the importance of this new thinking within universities so that they collaborate, partner, and support this new path. As a country, I exhort us to develop, inculcate, and embedded a national culture of innovation among our children from a young age. As learning and innovation go hand in hand, the bigger role that must be played by schools at all levels and universities cannot be overemphasized. Once again, congratulations to the University of Zimbabwe for this historic event. With these few remarks, I declare the University of Zimbabwe Innovation Hub officially opened and the University of Zimbabwe Strategic Plan 2019-2025 officially launched. God bless Zimbabwe. God bless you all. I thank you.
Big round of applause for His Excellency. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. At this juncture, I'm going to call upon the Honorable Minister, Professor Dr. Emuria, the Chairman of Council, Dr. Masuka, and the Vice Chancellor, Professor Makfumo, to lead His Excellency in the ceremony of cutting the ribbon and also unveiling our plaque. So if you could lead him. And as this is happening, His Excellency is also going to tour the Innovation Hub and His Excellency is cutting the ribbon right now. As you can see, hopefully cameras are being outside.
the last remaining white boy from Bohera. So I've got two very short pieces of poetry. The first one is called Men on a Mission, and the second one is called White Yet Black. And the first one goes like this. My Lord, there comes a time in a man's life when he must make a decision, which is neither favorable nor polite. But he makes this decision because his conscience tells him it is right. As I walk down these streets of dust and color, lights and shade, gold and plastics, echoes in the air, with man chasing the dollar and children running from crimes, with girls getting pregnant and boys becoming fathers and mothers and fathers, dancing for the coin. I see and I watch. Why? The question. Why is the black man always inferior and the later superior? Why? Why is Africa always at the receiving end and never at the productive stage? Why? Why is it when a black man makes money, no matter how dark it is, why? Why? This is the reason, my Lord, I stand in this dock, being charged with treason, and this is the very reason why I'm prepared to lay down my life. My Lord, I've traveled to the land of the Tonga and the Bemba, and I've inquired the law books, and I found, where did my people go wrong? And I found out they're all lies. A lawyer turned soldier, I've gone into the bushes to look for the reasons why my people are in this position. And this is my mission to see a changed Africa. My mission to see an African, a business owner, and no longer a worker. My vision to see Africa producing, not just consuming. And this, my Lord, is the reason why I'm prepared to meet the hangman tonight. Signed, Emerson Mnangagwa. So the last one is very short. It's a thank. I want to thank my stay here at the University of Zimbabwe with the disability scholarship that I received, and I would like to see others who look like me or others who are physically challenged, rising up and being innovative and being creative and using their talents just like I am today. So it goes like this. White yet black I am and I stand to be, a symbol of curses to my African people, a ghost to pig, a white man without a farm, a product of halitory that makes it all contradictory, just pondering about it silently. But I'm just simply white yet black. But as I'm walking down these streets, I hear these voices, you ghost, you pig, you half-caste. And I go home with my heart in my hands and I ask my mother, tell me the truth. Did you have an affair with a white man? And she looks at me with eyes filled with love and she says, my son, you were just white yet black. But I say, mother, I'm persecuted like the Messiah, segregated like blind Bartimaeus, ignored and abandoned in pitch darkness, imprisoned psychologically, murdered practically. Now what does this all add up to mathematically? And she looks at me and she says, my son, you're just white yet black. My son, go into the world and inspire. My son, even if they torture you, even if they murder you, even if they segregate you, even if they hide you, even if they deny you love, open the books and you'll find out the truth. It's so funny that one day we might all go to heaven and find out that even Jesus and the angels are just white yet.
A big round of applause for the man who is white yet black. Thank you very much for that. We really have talent around here. I was challenging the Dean of Students that he needs to actually just open an improv club where every night one of these kids comes and really performs, and then they can actually make quite a bit of change. Thank you very much to our students. At this juncture, I'm going to call upon the Chairman of Council and the Vice Chancellor to go ahead and present His Excellency with our token of appreciation. The token is not colored black, but it's colored white, yet black. Those which are in the cage over there. Chairman of Council. Tinama Hondowe Arimo Apua to His Excellency. Another round of applause. I'm going to call upon the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Professor Moyana, to come and introduce the one who is going to give us our vote of thanks. Professor Moyana.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade Emerson Damzo Mnangagwa, and Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe. Please allow me to observe all protocols as I call upon the Deputy Chair of the University Council, Mrs. Susan Musiti.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and the Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, the Honorable Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, Professor Dr. Emon Murgira, and other ministers here present, honorable members of Senate and the Parliament, the Chairman of the Services Commission, the Chairman of Council, Dr. Anxious Masuka, and fellow members of the University of Zimbabwe Council here present. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Paul Mapfumo, and other Vice Chancellors here present. The Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Council for Higher Education, Professor Peter Kuzvinetsa Jimbo, members of the Diplomatic Corps, captains of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. A very good afternoon. On behalf of the University of Zimbabwe Council, I am honored to humbly thank you, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, for your seasoned words of wisdom, encouragement, and for officially opening the University of Zimbabwe Innovation Hub, as well as launching our strategic plan today. We are humbled and feel truly privileged that in your busy schedule, you prioritized this occasion. For our part, we guarantee Your Excellency that your inspirational guidance and wisdom has motivated the bright minds of the current and future researchers and innovators of this great university to support industry, commerce, and society in the national endeavor to become an upper middle income country by 2030. The University of Zimbabwe is championing demand-driven research and innovation for industry and society solutions. Your Excellency, your profound confidence in the role of universities in national development is evidenced by your approval of the concept of innovation hubs in universities and your government's support in seeing this concept through is clear testimony that we are indeed under a new dispensation. Your Excellency, the University of Zimbabwe will not disappoint. With Council guiding implementation and staff putting shoulder to the wheel, the university is set to deliver. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to thank our parent ministry under the able leadership of Honorable Professor Dr. Emon Murwira for ably articulating the role of universities in national development and mobilizing resources for the construction of this magnificent building, which stands today as evidence of our determination as a nation to achieve prosperity. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I, on behalf of Council, take this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to the University of Zimbabwe staff for building this magnificent innovation hub. No contractor was hired. In collaboration with other state entities, namely Midland State University, Chinhoyi University of Technology, Belvedere Technical Teachers College, and Harare Polytechnic College, own resources, human and others, got us where we are today. We are truly grateful to all those who played a part. I also thank all those who made this launch successful. Distinguished guests here present, the university leadership, and all present, we thank you for your time. I thank you. Have a pleasant rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mzite, the Deputy Chair of the University of Zimbabwe Council. As you take your leave, Your Excellency, would want to promise you that when we make our first $1 million as a result of the innovations which are in here, we are going to invite you again so that you can celebrate with us the real substance of the innovation hub. Thank you, Your Excellency. Shall we all rise? Soft music can be played. It's very legal to play soft music at this juncture.